Hello, YouTube family. What a pleasure to be back with you. Since the last time I talked with you guys, Golden State has won the NBA championship. And if you go back and look at one of my latest podcasts, you'll see I predicted that they would beat the Boston Celtics. But the Boston Celtics have nothing to be ashamed of. One of the best things the Boston Celtics did to me, from my opinion, is that they kept Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown together. What a dynamic duo. And they don't have anything to do but the sky is the limit for them. So I expect Boston to be in the mix next year. And since I'm talking about that, let me go on and keep on forward on the NBA, because I generally start off with my HBCUs. But while I'm talking about the Celtics, I predict that it's going to be the Celtics, the Bucks, 76ers, and the Heat out of the East. I got Golden State. I got Denver. The Mavs showed me a little bit of something last year, and quite naturally Phoenix. The Phoenix did what you would call a gigantic slip up on losing to the Dallas Mavericks. They had no business losing to the Dallas Mavericks. So let's go back into my HBCU sports. And I want to start it off with this here. And that is that last year we had a campaign that we said fill the stands for the Labor Day Classic, Prairie View and Texas Southern University. This is going to be Fill the Stands Part 2, since we had a pretty good crowd. And I'd like to think that this show had a little bit of something to do with it, since most of the viewers are people that have attended HBCUs and are from the Houston area, which Prairie View is also. And we have people that, one more time, that HBCU graduates that have approached me and told me, yeah, I'm going to the game. This was last summer when I started promoting it. So I'm going to start early promoting the Labor Day Classic. We want to Fill the Stands Part 2 in Prairie View. I would nothing more than to see purple and gold on one side and maroon and white on the other, filling the stands. And I think it can be done. I anticipate a great game. Texas Southern has gotten better, and Prairie View has had the best of us. When I say us, I am a TSU grad, and so Prairie View has had the best of us for the last few years. And so I anticipate a great game. So one more time, which I'm going to go over later on in the show, we're going to have a campaign called Fill the Stands Part 2, Labor Day Classic, Prairie View and Texas Southern. Today's episode is sponsored by two of my first sponsors that I greatly appreciate. Dr. Phyllis Morgan, a dentist located on Stella Link. Also, Gerald Womack, a developer located here in 3rd Ward, Texas. These are two great people that have come aboard. And all you other listeners that are contemplating maybe getting your name out of your business, give us a thought and a shout. You can always email me at fatlarrypodcast@gmail.com. fatlarrypodcast@gmail.com. This is how these two individuals got in touch with me. All right, with that, let's go off into the HBCU news. TSU, North Carolina A&T, Hampton University, and Norfolk State are going to participate in the initial Chris Paul tournament in Las Vegas. Now, I want you guys to listen. This is a great scenario that he is preparing for HBCUs. And we already have about 6 of my friends and myself that we are going to attend in Las Vegas. It should be a great game. And if you've ever been to Las Vegas, you're going to have a good time. So Las Vegas is going to be the site, MGM Garden Arena, for one more time. Hampton University is going to play Norfolk State the first game. Texas Southern is going to play North Carolina A&T the second game. I want to mention that it's going to be on December the 17th and December the 18th, just before the conference and basketball gets really into a heavy swing. So one more time, December the 17th and December the 18th, you're going to have Texas Southern University play North Carolina A&T. And you're going to have Hampton play Norfolk State. All four of these HBCUs have been participating in the NCAA tournament. And that's partly why they were probably picked. North Carolina A&T made it a couple of years ago. Texas Southern has been back-to-back. Norfolk State has been back-to-back. And Hampton University has been back-to-back. Hampton is even playing in the CAA conference, a white conference, as I may say, for lack of words. But these four schools will be there, and I'm sure all the alumni from all four colleges can't wait to be able to go to Las Vegas to watch the game and have a great time. So we're promoting that also. One more time, basketball classic, TSU versus North Carolina A&T, Hampton University versus Norfolk State. And this is being put on by Chris Paul. Okay? And it's going to be at the MGM December the 17th and December the 18th. Put it on your calendar. Hope to see you there. Also, TSU signs Sean Jones Jr. out of Shadow Creek High School. Now, to me, this is a great beginning for Coach Jones. We've been able to get some players out of the portal, but nothing can replace you getting a kid out of high school. And hopefully we can develop a pipeline in the Pearland area, which is a suburb of Houston. Pearland has developed or produced over the last few years some great basketball players, and this guy is no different. For instance, this kid, Sean Jones Jr., was offered by University of Houston, LSU, Rice, TCU, and Texas State, who he originally signed with. But he decided to open back up his recruitment, thank goodness, and he has given TSU the nod that he wants to come and help take the program even further. So great news for all TSU alums and actually for all HBCU alums, because I not only report news from TSU, I report news from the CIAA, the SIAC, the MEAC, and the SWAC. So this is great news that you can get a kid out of high school versus got to wait on him to come out of the portal. So TSU has what they call a 3-star, which I'm not on all those stars, because if 3 and 5 stars basically were the only thing to make you a winner, then Alabama would never lose a game. They halfway don't now, but they would never lose a game. And this is why it ticked me off about Saban getting on LeBron about getting kids in the NIL. I mean, what are you talking about, Nick Saban? You guys pay people also. And the key to that is, if you remember, when he came at Deion said, now, you don't want me to start talking about what goes on at these white major colleges. So he shut down real quick and apologized about even bringing Deion up. So I got off that, but I didn't really want to. But I'm just saying that 5 stars and 3 stars make no difference. It's what's in the kid's heart. And I think TSU may have gotten a gem, a diamond in the rough with Sean Jones Jr. So with that, TSU is moving forward in basketball. Some more SWAC news. Grambling ex-volleyball coach Chelsea Lucas was fired yesterday. Today is Thursday. So on Wednesday, July the 6th, she was fired for, she came in as the new head coach and dismissed all the players. When I say dismissed, she terminated scholarships and the whole 9 yards from the team. And actually it was 19 student athletes that were involved. She has said that Grambling State approached her and told her during this time after this, and she made news about, how should I say, well, eliminating the whole volleyball team players. She was going to start and all over from scratch and do her players. So Grambling had asked her not to talk to the media. But she asked to go and talk to the president day before yesterday. And in that meeting, the athletic director showed up also, which her and the athletic director have been having some friction since this occurred. And so the next day, which was yesterday, she was fired. So what she is saying is that she is working with her attorney to prepare a response and believes her side of the story will show a whole total different thing that happened at Grambling. So stay prepared and stay on the look on what's happening with Chelsea Lucas, the former volleyball coach. And at the bottom of the page of this podcast, let me know what you guys think. A great place for you to put your comments and tell me what you think about Chelsea Lucas being fired. What did you think about her dismissing all the players when she became the volleyball coach? And she is a Grambling ex. She actually played volleyball at Grambling. So for her to come in and dismiss all the players, you don't know what the situation was. And I didn't do my study like I should have to tell you guys what Grambling's past volleyball record was. But if she was hired as new coach, it could not have been that great. So once again, she has been fired, the coach at Grambling volleyball, and she and her lawyer are getting ready to have a media interview in the near future to let people know her side of the story. Some more HBCU news. P. Diddy has said he is going to be donating $1 million to his alma mater, Howard University, and $1 million to Jackson State University. Prime, Deion Sanders. I'm going to harp on what I harp on all the time when these HBCU coaches, I don't hear as much as I did initially talk about all the attention Deion gets, but there's a method to Deion's madness. And as I have said all the time, these coaches need to stop crying and start emulating what Deion is doing. Approach some of these people. These people have money. Let them know what they can do for you, how they can help not only him, but the whole landscape of HBCU sports. So Deion work pays off without him even talking. So P. Diddy, once again, is going to give $1 million to Howard University and $1 million to Jackson State. Ja Rule has joined in on the mix now. Ja Rule is going to donate to 5 different HBCUs. Hampton University, Morgan State, Spelman, Morehouse, and oops, here we go again, Jackson State University. These coaches better learn they need to get on this social media like Deion already understood from day one, because that's where these kids are 60% of the time, on social media. So they got to roll with the flow on this. So Deion is getting some more contribution from Ja Rule. Now I want to talk about Texas Southern University. Mike Strahan hasn't got any shine, but Mike Strahan for years have tried to help Texas Southern, his alma mater. Last year he bought helmets. And so that may not sound like much to you, but helmets cost a little much for a whole squad, 85 helmets. Then here recently, he just bought the traveling suits, dress suits for the TSU football team. So there are people out there that are willing to help these HBCUs if you just man up and go approach them. Okay? You got to man up and approach them. We got Trey Fisher, the son of Texas A&M head football coach Jeff Fisher, is transferring to FAMU University. That's one of the transfers. We're going off into transfers right now to the HBCUs. Alabama A&M gets a quarterback from the University of Illinois. His name is Coran Taylor. He was at the University of Illinois for 2 years. They decided they wanted to make him a defensive back, and he decided that, no, I want to play quarterback. And so he got an offer from Alabama A&M University, and that is where he is going. I can remember back in the day when I was playing ball, TCU, Texas Christian University, which would have made me one of the first few black athletes there, approached me about playing wide receiver, running back, DB, anything but what I played, which was quarterback in high school. So I understand where this gentleman is coming from. And that's going to get a lot of the black kids back to the HBCUs, that when they go to these Power 5 schools and they decide that, hey, why don't you transfer or change to wide receiver or defensive back? You get your opportunity at HBCU to do what you want to do. And that is, if you want to be a quarterback, come on and let's see if you got what it takes. So Southern University has a big game coming up with LSU. And they've been talking about it a lot. One of the first games of the season. Now, Deion Sanders has a certain opinion about HBCU playing Power 5 schools. He doesn't feel like it's helpful in a sense. The payday is there, which, one more time, that's all any of them play each other for, is for the payday. And I'm not mad at Southern University for playing LSU. Just like I'm not mad at Texas Southern for playing A&M and Prairie View playing A&M, Texas Southern playing Baylor. The program has to be sustained some kind of way with money. If we as X's aren't going to donate, then they have to go out and get a game where they're going to make some money. They have to. So Deion's position on this is that he doesn't want his guys' mentality busted all up and players busted off from playing these Power 5 schools yet. So once again, at the bottom of this podcast and the comment section, let me know what you think about HBCUs playing Power 5 schools. Yeah, we know it's for the money, but I feel like it's an opportunity for them to go into one of these large stadiums, get the experience of a large stadium, get the experience of 50, 60, 70,000 cheering fans. That's my side of it. But I understand Deion's side of it also. So one more time at the bottom of the podcast, in one of your comments, let me know what you think. Moving on, we got Alabama A&M gets DeGabriel Floyd, a linebacker from the University of Texas. Floyd has 2 years of eligibility left. He's from California originally. That's where he went to high school, and he's a linebacker, as I said. He was offered coming out of high school by USC, Notre Dame, University of Arizona. So he is a big-time catch for Alabama A&M, which has other players that I reported in the earlier podcast that they've been getting. So they're loading the wagon with transfer portal people. We're going to Alabama State, as you know, has Demetrius Davis, the North Shore out of Houston, Texas, quarterback that initially attended Auburn. You got another guy that was not going to get an opportunity to play quarterback at one of these Power 5 colleges, decided that, hey, this is what I want to do, play quarterback. So he's going to Alabama A&M. I was kind of hurt initially that he didn't come to Texas Southern because you never have enough quarterbacks. But I'm not really upset because we have what I think is the star of the SWAC as far as quarterbacks go at Texas Southern University, Andrew Body. He was an unknown prior to walking in, but Texas Southern last year, but he is no longer unknown. So I feel that the HBCUs offer these kids the opportunity to play the position they want to, which is quarterback. And they can make it to the league from there. Akil Glass from Alabama A&M last year, the all-conference quarterback in the SWAC, he's in an NFL camp now, or will be when the season starts. Moving on, we got Alabama State is going to be playing in the MEAC Challenge. And I saw where Eddie Robinson Jr., the new head coach there, is saying that He's trying to get SWAC back on the positive side of this challenge. As you guys know, the SWAC has been beaten by the MEAC like the last 5 times. And so it's time for the SWAC to stand up, since they call themselves the cream of the black college football conferences. But the MEAC has something different to say about that. And so Eddie Robinson wants to change that MEAC SWAC challenge game results. They will be playing, who are they going to be playing? They are going to be playing Howard University. And Howard University came on pretty good at the end of last season. So it should be a good contest that's going to be in Atlanta. We got Grambling State adds a linebacker from the University of Arizona, Jabbar Triplett Jr. UAPB shifting gears now, still HBCU, but this is a big announcement for women's basketball and the SWAC. UAPB gets a 5-star basketball player, 6'4" center from the University of Georgia. I can't wait to see how good she is. Once again, these stars don't mean a whole bunch to me, but since they put a star by her name, she was a 5-star recruit out of high school that went to the University of Georgia, is now going to UAPB. Jackson State, still on the women's side, added a recruit or a transfer portal from Rutgers, Liz Martino, a guard from Rutgers University. So it behooves all of these SWAC schools to stay on the job to try to get some players, because you got every university in the SWAC that is hunting down the transfer portal to get their team better. Major League Baseball. Now I'm going to spend a little time on this, tooting my whistle, because the Astros are the talk of the Major League Baseball in the American League. Let me say that, because I got to give the Dodgers their due. They have the 2 best records in each league. The Dodgers have the best record in the National League, and the Astros has the best record in the American League. It would be truly amazing to be able to see them in the World Series after 2017 debacle, where the Dodgers still crying about the Astros taking signals or getting signals. As I tell people, it don't matter if you know if the pitch is coming. You still got to have hand-eye coordination to hit that baseball. Trust me, it's going at 100 miles an hour, 95 miles an hour. So it doesn't mean a whole bunch. It's good that you know what the pitch is, but you still got to have hand-eye coordination to hit that ball. So but anyway, I'm going to run down the league standings first, and we're going to talk about the Astros. In the American League Central, you got the Minnesota Twins, where Carlos Carrera is. They're leading there. I'm going to give the top 3 teams. And then you have Cleveland, and you have Chicago White Sox. In the East, you have the Yankees. And so I spoke about the Dodgers and the Astros having the best record, but the Yankees are right there with them. Yankees are 57-21. Then you got Toronto, and you got Boston. Boston's always going to be in the mix. They're a little behind right now, but you know they always have that wild card that they could qualify for. In the Western American League, you have the Astros, and you have Seattle Mariners, which is a surprise to me, and you have the Texas Rangers. In the National League East, you got the Mets, Atlanta Braves, the defending World Series champs, and you got the Philadelphia Phillies. In the Central, you got the Milwaukee Brewers, you got the St. Louis Cardinals, and you got the Cubs. In the West, you got the Dodgers, and you got the San Diego Padres and the San Francisco Giants. The San Francisco Giants and the San Diego Padres, keep an eye on them for the wild card in the West. So, speaking of baseball, before I go to the Astros, I think it's a great sport that our kids, and when I say our kids, our black kids, should get into. As my guest from the last podcast, the legend, the great Ralph Cooper, radio broadcaster, spoke of his love for baseball, as I did, which is what I played in college, baseball. I think more black kids should get in it for a lot of reasons. As Ralph said last week, or the last show that contracts are guaranteed. And as I said, you don't get broke up as you would be in football and even basketball. Baseball, you can get hurt, but not like you can do in those other two sports. So I think baseball is a great game. And I'm noticing a lot of fathers are getting their kids, black kids, into baseball now. And I think it's great. Because when I was growing up back in the day, baseball was the game. So what we're going to do is go over the Astros. They just lost last night. Once again, this is Thursday, July the 7th. The game last night was July the 6th, and they lost to Kansas City. They have had 3 comeback victories against Kansas City before last night, and I was on the edge of my seat thinking they might could do it again. But it was not to be. But that's okay. You can't win all of them. Let's talk about the Astros. Who thought this kid, Jeremy Pena, would be as good as he is? It seems that we have not missed a beat that Carlos Correa is gone. This kid has been fantastic. And you could just go down the line on players that have just stepped up. You got Kyle Tucker. Justin Verlander has come back to pitch and has been just as good as he was prior to his injury. And speaking of our pitching staff, Luis Garcia, Framber Valdez, Jose Urquidy, Ryan Stanek, Ryan Presley, Jake Odorizzi, and Christian Javier. It's everybody stepping up for the Astros. It's becoming a hard ticket to get here in Houston because everybody loves a winner. And so these Astros are not joking. You got hitters like Jeremy Pena, Jose Altuve, Yordan Alvarez, who just signed a 5-year, $120 million contract. So the Astros aren't going anywhere. Jeremy Pena, I think, is like 23, 24. You got Kyle Tucker's young kid. They're going to eventually have to pay him. And you got Yuli Gurriel that's getting back in stride with his hitting. You got Alex Bergman. Had a little lull in the beginning, but now he's getting back on stride. You got Kyle Tucker once again. You got Jake Myers hitting big hits, home runs. And Michael Brantley. Last but not least, Michael Brantley. This guy is just a professional hitter. He doesn't cause any problems, doesn't talk a game. You don't see him in the media, but he's nothing but a steady player. Plug him in, and you got a 300 hitter, Michael Brantley. So I think the Astros out of the West and the American League, their biggest challenge is going to probably be in the American League. I'm looking at the Yankees and maybe Toronto. In the National League, I'm looking at the Mets that have been nothing but a surprise. Atlanta, which is in second place in the East, but as the season wear on, them being the defending champions, you're still going to have to deal with them. I think the Brewers are going to be good. And I got the Dodgers. And the fourth team for that wild card spot, probably San Francisco or San Diego. Moving on, NBA. We got Golden State, NBA champions. Now, but what has happened since they've been the champions, they've lost like a big portion of their bench. And as I tell everybody, you got to have a good bench in the NBA. Actually, you got to have good reserve players in every major sport. When somebody is hurt or injured and is lost to that team, the next person in line needs to step up. And when you see a good team continue to win and continue to be in contention and continue to be champions, that's actually what has happened, probably, is that the bench player, the role player has stepped up. So, for instance, Gary Payton Jr. at Golden State, role player. When he was hurt, they lost a couple games to Boston. Once he got well, took Boston right on out. They won the last 2 games. So Golden State lost him, and they lost 3 other players. So now they still got their nucleus. And then you got somebody like KD trying to get on the Golden State Warriors. You know, KD is a great player. But I'm like most people that felt like he showed out those 2 championships that he won, but he went to a team that already was going to probably be in the championship game anyway. So all he did was just made it almost impossible for them to get beat. When he went to New Jersey, he and Kyrie, I talked with a friend and my cousin, that we weren't worried about them because they have never gone anywhere and led a team to the championship. You got to have something special inside you to be a leader. They talk about LeBron all they want to. Every place LeBron has gone to, they've won a championship. Okay? So you got to have a leader. And it's funny to me now that KD is talking about he want to go to Phoenix, stacked. He want to go to Golden State, stacked. And he wants to go to the Heat. Now, the Heat's not stacked, but they play the game the right way, which is defense first. And all they need is his offense. If they plug in his 27, 30 points a game, the Heat going to be hard to beat. But you got Golden State, which are the champs. The Nets have just disintegrated with Kyrie and KD. And the Beard, James Harden jumped ship last year. He was tired of it last year. And you got my guys, the Lakers, trying to get fixed. You know, I have mixed emotions about Kyrie Irving coming to the Lakers for Russell Westbrook. I love Russell Westbrook. He plays the game the right way. But, you know, as much as I love him, Kyrie brings more to the table with his scoring, which is what they definitely need, and his playmaking ability. But I wouldn't be hurt if he doesn't come. I think with the new coach and the new direction the Lakers are going to go, you're going to see an improvement. And I feel like the teams to look at going to next season as contenders are going to be in the East, the Bucks, the Atlanta Hawks, the Heat, and the 76ers. The 4 teams out of the West that I think are going to be in the mix, quite naturally Golden State and Phoenix. And you got Denver, and you got the Mavs. I think those 4 teams will be in the mix for the NBA. Now, before we get out of basketball, I want to bring something up about Brittany Griner. Brittany Griner is a WNBA player, superstar, all-star player, a champion, high school, college, and WNBA, that was leaving Russia about 4 months ago, got caught with some type of cannabis product. I don't think it was actually weed, but the product of it that she got caught with, and she's been there ever since. And her wife is starting to try to get involved and get other dignitaries in the United States involved. She's making statements like if that was Shaq, LeBron, he wouldn't have been over that long. But I don't know, but I feel like the United States should be able to get her back, and I'm hoping that it's done soon. This morning she pleaded guilty. We got the news. I think now they should be able to move on and come up with what are they going to do. Are they going to give her some time where she has to stay, or, hey, here is the way for her to become free. Now, we've already been told that they want one of their spies that is jailed here in the United States in an exchange. So I don't know what this guy has done, if he's a mass murderer or anything of that nature, or he's transporting secrets to the United States from Russia or whatever. But if it's not die-hard critical, I'm thinking they should be able to work out a deal. But that's the news on Brittany Griner. And also, I have one other female news. Right at the bottom, one more time, of the podcast about Brittany Griner, what you think, and also Sha'Carri Richardson. This young lady 2 years ago, before she signed pro and made some money. See, money sometimes can make a person feel like they've made it, not understanding that, yeah, you're getting paid this time, but if you don't continue to produce, there won't be a next time. And Sha'Carri Richardson, to me, has, since she's gotten that money and that fame from college and then turned pro. One more time, it's just my opinion, and you can voice your opinion on the comment section, what you think. I don't think she's won a major track meet since then. She got blitzed in Europe in the 100. She got blitzed in Europe in the 200 meters by the same two Jamaican females that she's been having a problem with. So I think she needs to train and get ready before she continues to talk to them about what she's going to do. She needs to just train and get ready to do it. So you got Sha'Carri Richardson and Brittany Griner in my news today. We got, before we get out of here, NFL. We got Deshaun Watson. You know, I'm a Deshaun Watson fan. I love the kid. I think he may have got in a little bit over his head. Not saying he's guilty about anything, but you know, you got 20 people that you've paid, and you got 4 more that don't want to get paid. They want to see you spend some time or something. So it's a tough situation for Deshaun right now, but I'm hoping and praying that he can get it resolved, because I feel like Deshaun, that was out of character for him, and I don't think we will ever see him in that type of situation. It's almost like Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis, 12 years ago, Super Bowl, had his buddies from Miami that he grew up with him, and he learned a valuable lesson that, hey, you know, I want them to know that I haven't changed. I still love you all, and I'm still one of you all, but sometimes you can't run with them like that. Somebody got killed, and since he got that not guilty plea, you have not heard one thing from Ray Lewis about being anything negative. And I think it's going to be the same way with Deshaun. We got Cleveland in a tizzy, because if Deshaun, which the NFL is trying to get him for the whole season, but I think the Players Association is going to have him where he maybe miss 6 to 8 games. So I think Deshaun, one more time, if clear to this, we won't hear of Deshaun in any type of news like this. Because the Browns, if he can't play, Baker Mayfield yesterday, Wednesday, July the 6th, signed with the Carolina Panthers. So they don't even have him now to fall back as quarterback. You got Green Bay, the Vikings, in the National League, the 2 teams in their division, Central. I got the Cowboys and the Eagles in the East for the NFL. I got Tampa Bay and the Saints in the South. And I got the Rams and Arizona in the West. So I want to once again let everyone know that we are pushing the Labor Day Classic Part 2. We want you guys to not only come to the game, get your season ticket for Prairie View and Texas Southern. And any of you other HBCU grads, wherever you are, your school, buy a season ticket from your school, football, basketball. As I do, I try to get an all-season pass, because your university really needs the financial support. So this is why I'm pushing Labor Day Fill the Stands Part 2, Prairie View and Texas Southern. It would be a beautiful sight to see one side of that stadium purple and gold and the other side maroon and white, with both of the marching bands putting on a show. And I can anticipate seeing that in this upcoming Labor Day Classic. So also, I want you guys to not forget to go to fatlarrypodcast.com. Get your T-shirts. This is even one that Since I say back in the day a lot, I went ahead, my daughter suggested I get a t-shirt made up that way, and I did. Back in the day, Sports Talk with Fat Larry. Go to fatlarrypodcast.com. You also can write a comment there, and you also can see podcasts that you may have missed. We have them in maroon. We have them in blue. Sports Talk with Fat Larry. And I'm telling everyone right now, your purchase, or portions of your purchase, will go to an HBCU. Okay? And we also have hoodies. fatlarrypodcast.com. Please go to that website, purchase your t-shirts or your hoodies. Very simple. Very simple. Also, email me at fatlarrypodcast@gmail.com. fatlarrypodcast@gmail.com. Let me know what you think about the show. Give me an idea on a topic, because, one more time, a lot of my topics are from my people that watch the show and approach me and say, Larry, why don't you talk about this? Why don't you have this person on? So, one more time, I can take constructive criticism even at the bottom of the comment page. It doesn't matter. Just let me know you're out there watching. And so, until the next time, I'd like to wish everyone a great weekend. Peace out.